standout jungler prior to this split of the OPL. Even I don't even know what I'm casting here.
Woo.
The OPL this year, of course. He is a very strong jungler, so rightly so getting the attention that he deserves. The rest of the side of Trident are probably the ones with the champion issues. So instead of actually targeting the limited champion pool that the rest of Trident have, they're taking away the strongest members, strongest champions to make it easier for them.
Makes sense, as Rise is going to be banned once again. It is kind of a Ryu ban in some ways, but because he was playing it last year, but definitely just an overall strong champion, so Trident aren't going to let that through once again. Hellions, though, ban number 2 just about to be here, and it is going to be Poppy again.
Yeah, it's still, I will say, Rise 100% a Ryu ban, even on the opposite sides of the map with Trident being first pick. Still have to ban Rise in their first rotation because you just do not give that champion to Ryu, or you're throwing the entire game away. Of course, Poppy, as you mentioned, to follow, potential flex. Denian tried one game on Poppy and realized that it doesn't work for him. Communication just doesn't feel as right when he's playing something that's melee and is able to just be in the front line and engage instead of disengaging. So taking that away from Jake.
Yep, and Corky banned as well, so that's going to be a bottom lane champion targeted by Trident. Can of course go mid as well. Bomb, I'm sure, can play the champion given how strong it is, but Hellions will not get the option this time around as last ban now, 10 seconds left. And do they want to target Impaired again? They banned Elise last game as their second jungler, but they might look to something else here.
I don't think there's anything else for them to bother banning. Yeah, we'll take that off the board.
Well, it's gone. So Impaired once again going to eat 2 bans here as Trident looks to line up their final ban here. Do they ban the Gangplank? Do they give it over? Do they leave Lulu open? These are all questions that we are going to have to see.
Oh, they need to ban the Gangplank now because it'll just get first picked away from them. But then they'll give themselves the Graves, potentially. So there's this big dilemma that's now going to go through their minds. Can we actually deal with the Gangplank? Which obviously we now know the answer. And pick something ourselves.
Wow.
Okay, that works.
And that's Fiora first pick for Ryu. Lulu is open. There's plenty of other things you could pick. They could pick Graves if Cookie wanted it, but Ryu confident with that pick.
Yeah, absolutely. Ryu, he's inclined to split push, and Fiora is the champion that can split push and team fight. Depending on how you build, whenever you decide it, you just change your item build up or something very drastically, and suddenly you're capable because Fiora, very versatile champion. So they picked that one away, and I do find it interesting that this early in the draft, they've said what their top laner is going to be. Especially into Pac-Man, who plays the tanks anyway. Yeah,
I mean, there's Trundle and Graves, so it could be top lane Trundle. Seen a bit of that from Jack Attack, of course. There's affectionately called, I believe Pac-Man was called Pack Attack, affectionately there by Carbon. So could see that here. Graves, though, is going to get picked up once again for Impaired. And, of course, Jakey can play the Trundle as well if he wants.
And I really want to see Impaired on this Graves impact the lanes that aren't bottom because they know that between Jake and Addition, they are capable of 2v2ing, at least going even. Get BMA going. Or get Pac-Man going. Please focus those lanes, and we'll see if you can do it on this Graves in particular. Such a strong clearing champion.
Yeah, just great stuff there. Type of champion we'd expect Impaired to really excel on, as Lucian Lulu are the picks there for Hellions. Very solid stuff. It feels like Bomb will be taking the Lulu here in the mid lane. Could, of course, be a support, but very unlikely. So Trident kind of know what they're working with. Hellions, interesting draft order, I will say. The champions are fine, but giving away your solo lanes this early is potentially not something they want to do. Ezreal is locked in, though. We have a Malphite hover as well.
Yeah, so they lock in the Ezreal, you would have to assume is with the Trundle, based off what we're seeing. Yep, so they've locked in their bot lane. That is Trident. They left open the Lulu, and they gave that one away to Hellions after Hellions weirdly picked up the Fiora in their first rotation, not really even taking it from Pac-Man, honestly. Just a strong kind of do-what-you-want type of champion, have a free pick, and Trident's response was not the Lulu. They've just kind of given them a strong comp.
Yeah, and Cookie will take Rek'Sai again. Janna once again for Denny. And again, like nothing is really surprising us here with these picks out on the Hellion side. Again, the way they drafted is, like, the order-wise is a bit odd. They almost picked their own champions for themselves, and they're not quite. We'll have to swap a couple here and there. They tried it with one final pick left. Don't think it's going to be Blitzcrank there, Jakey, but you never know.
Yeah, I guess you never know. Of course, looking at Trident's team composition with BMA, you would assume to pick, just go to Orianna. Have the Malphite Ori, look at her, and it's something that even Carbon disagreed with on the desk, is you don't try and out-team fight the team fighting team. There's a lot of teams in there. But like, if that's the direction they're going towards, then sure, meet them on their own battlefield, see if you can take it.
Well, we'll have to see as Jakey's still with that blitz hanging out. Might be swapping things up though. 10 seconds, and it is going to be the Lux lock-in. So not quite Orianna, but
still team fighting.
Yeah.
I think the one major stylistic difference is there's a bit more pick behind the Lux. They're at the bindings, catch someone, There's no way Pac-Man can miss that Malphite ultimate. I'm just so worried looking at the team composition that Hellions have got, because there's a Janna Lulu, and they've got a Fiora to buff, and they've got a Lucian to buff, so neither of those guys will die.
And again, thinking about draft order for Hellions, which was the thing that seems sort of strange, it feels like Ryu just knew he was going to get to play against Malphite. Because this matchup's actually pretty good for Fiora, and Pac-Man's like, well, I guess I have to take this now.
It did kind of feel like that. I don't know if Pac-Man should have ever felt like, oh, well, I need to take it once the Fiora was picked. I feel like he would have actually been better off with the Chunk Dench again.
Yeah.
I just feel like when you play against a Fiora as Malphite, you're forced into health firstly, and then you're looking at only wave clearing, never really grouping. Fiora's going to keep you there, and if Fiora keeps you there, you're going to stay there, and Ryu will just continue to stay there. He's one of those guys that will just split push to the end of the world.
Yep, and again, it's funny because we did see A, more grouping from Hellions in that last game, but B, they won when they actually team fought with the Fiora, so we'll see if Ryu can continue to be a bit more adaptive, because he has been a little bit better at being more of a dynamic top laner, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely, and again, I'm going to come back to my big concern for this team composition they've got in place here. I mean, Trident, they've got pick, they've got damage, but can they kill anyone?
Well, I guess we'll see how it goes, but don't forget your hashtags. HLN for the Hellions if you think they can take the 2-0, or hashtag TRI for Trident if you think they'll force game number 3. Don't forget, of course, to keep using the hashtag IamOPL, and please, please, please send us more beard photos.
I want to see Gandalf
yes,
spawn. That's what I want to see.
Wizard beard spawn. That is exactly what we want. As we are going to move out onto Summoner's Rift. You can see Bomb on the Lulu this time around as Hellions are looking to take a 2-0 sweep here after winning game number 1. Trident, they'll see if they can answer it back.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Okay,
again,
it exists.
And again.
Turns out Gandalf's spawn exists.
Thank you, production, for confirming that Gandalf's spawn already exists. We'll have to think of something new for you guys to do. But again, please keep sending in your submissions as addition. Gonna miss that first Mystic shot, but he's gonna ward that brush. Yanian now revealed out.
I've got it.
Okay.
So this will make Spawn really happy. So just trust me when I say you should do this. Ragnar Lothbrok, just make him that.
Okay.
And you'll make Spawn's life.
Well, get the Google image search going, guys, because
good luck.
We are going to have some fun here as Hellions still just defensively spread out here. Looks like neither team wanted to do anything particularly creative as far as invades go, but we do actually have a lane swap here.
Yeah,
Addition is going to go top with Jakey as Cookie's
twerking.
Yep, having some fun.
Twerking it.
Waiting for the jungle minions to spawn. Successful lane swap as well, though Ryu already joining in.
Changing angles.
Well, Ryu's coming, so he's got to address him. Say hi. And double jungling for both sides as well, so we'll see how this thing works out.
Yeah, so the double jungling's very interesting here. I think that Ryu and Cookie are quite fast at it. You have to keep in mind. There we go. Gandalf, we knew it existed. Thank you very much for bringing that one up. It is actually so very majestic.
That is wonderful, as Ryu is actually going top lane now, just assisted. Cookie with the first camp is not actually continuing to jungle, so we'll be in a 1v2 situation. It doesn't know that just yet, and that is going to give Pac-Man a bit of an early edge because he's continuing to jungle, and now Ryu knows what the problem is.
Yeah.
We'll see what he wants to do here, now that he is 1v2.
And that's the interesting question, is where will Ryu go from here? Will he just join up and do the blue buff with his jungler and then work around the rest of the map, or will they look to contest this lane swap and actually stop the turrets from falling down and slow the game down themselves? I feel like both teams benefit from this because it's accelerating the game if they match it.
Yep.
So really there's nothing lost or gained, it's just the tower swap.
Yep, and you can see Ryu does make the correct adjustment. We'll now continue jungling with Cookie, so we'll be a tad behind, but not too far as Olaf spawn enters the arena there from @RomOfficial. Once again, keep sending your great tweets, guys. These beards are getting better and better.
That's really good.
Well, in the meanwhile, mid lane, Bomb actually has a level lead right now, so you can see he's played pretty far up here, nice and aggressive into BM8. Does have a little CS lead there as well. It just seems like Bomb, again, we've heard about his strong play and his strong laning, starting to really put pressure down against Trident's mid laner.
Yeah, absolutely, of course. Bomb in particular being able to pressure BMA out, it's not something that comes as a surprise anymore because BMA's laning has been known to be his weak point. So if they can actually find a way, Trident, to bridge BMA into safety past this laning phase, things might get a little bit better for them. But again, this lane swap's an interesting dilemma for Trident because they're the ones putting it into place, which gives Bomb the knowledge that he's going to be in a 1v1 and can try and pressure BMA out.
Which is exactly what he wants here. As you can see, fast pushes are almost completed for these first outer turrets. Hellions are going to get them here. This is going to go to Pac-Man. He will get all the gold. Oh, no Addition going to come steal some. And Ryu going to take it all here. So pretty similar looks for both sides here. Ryu even able to deny all the minions away. Pac-Man going to do a similar job. Does hit a tower shot on the way out, but keep the wave here. And now we can see fairly standard setup here. We'll see where the dual lane wants to go. And just how much farm these top laners are going to be able to get now that the first towers have fallen.
So the major difference is Pac-Man 100% has to recall. Ryu is going to be healthy enough to stay and try and let it freeze back towards him. And that's an issue for Trident, because a 4 CS Malphite just took a tower shot, went down to about 200 health, and now the wave has to reset for him. He has nowhere to go.
Yeah, you can see both dual lanes actually going to join these very long lanes as Jakey actually going to look to get aggressive perhaps onto Ryu. Doesn't have the riposte, but just gets pilled up. Jakey going to move in, but Addition's not there. Ryu just going to walk it off. Go back to his tower and actually recall.
Yeah, and honestly, he can choose to go wherever he would like. Pac-Man looking to gravitate towards this bottom lane where the rest of his team is, and 4-man takes down the turret once again. So going for that double turret swap, whereas Ryu, a little bit greedy, I'll say, managed to delay the wave somewhat, get some extra CS in his back pocket, and be quite comfortable with that.
He's going to be a bit late to top lane push, but should be okay there as Trident 4-man strong now as Pac-Man makes his way down. And they should take this quite quickly. For Cookie and Denny, though, they already had a head start.
Yeah, they were there miles ahead of their opponents in Trident before Trident could get to that bottom lane and start hitting the turret. So Ryu's just going to walk up to top lane, get some free turret gold for himself in his back pocket once again, and Trident are actually all going to share this one. So the gold disparity between top laners is continuing to grow, and that could be a worry if anyone gets a freeze here from Hellions.
I was going to say, I think you can tell Ryu is the captain and owner of the team, because he's a very polite team. It's two different towers he's going to collect that gold off of. And of course, the team will pick up gold for themselves also, as Ryu, once again, going to try and keep this wave here and get what CS he can. 14-5 so far. It is early days, but 10 CS up already is nice for the Fiora.
Well, 10 CS on basically what is already only 5 is actually a sizable difference when you think about the items they'll have, especially when they match against each other. The Dragon not giving gold is the biggest misplay of all from Trident if you want to look at this lane swap. Not only have they left BMA in a solo lane, where he is notably struggling against this Lulu from Bomb. The Ignite is actually playing wonders into this matchup. But they've also denied Pac-Man a whole lot of farm. And funnily enough, this is what I would personally coin as Jack attacking him. Just putting him into the side lane.
Well, we'll see what Malphite can do. Pac-Man is going to walk towards topside, but he's going to be an experience deficit, a gold deficit. And thankfully for him, not quite yet an item deficit, but could be struggles there as BMA did get pushed out of his lane. Will burn the teleport to make his way back. But Bomb able to take the free recall, walk his way back up mid lane. Got himself a Fiendish Codex and a Frostfang versus Codex and Forbidden Idol. So it looks like we are going to have a bit of a difference here in the early items. It's Frost Queen's Claim versus Morello Nomicon. Yeah,
we absolutely are. The Morello's giving a bit of extra cooldown reduction, looking to wave clear more so here, BMA, opposed to the Battle Bomb that we are observing. And that thing is going to reset if it changes targets one more time.
Yep. Let's see, Harold's getting a little impatient perhaps, but Jakey actually...
He has to brute tank this entire thing or it'll reset.
It hurts a lot, but they are going to pick up the buff here. Looks like Addition does pick up the last hit, but Impaired will take the buff for himself. We'll see if Trident can make use of this with some more pushing, as Ryu's pushed up pretty far at this point.
Yeah, Ryu's absolutely pushed up far, and there's a lot of members here, but there's no real kill threat, as Cookie's even got a level advantage.
Yep, Bomb walks over as well. Cookie also in the area. A nice ward actually as well from Hellions. They've got two great defensive wards as teleport bottom lane actually. Yeah. Pac-Man forced to respond to a 2-man push from the Hellions bottom side.
Yeah, and at this stage, Pac-Man doesn't have enough items to deal with this. Frey could honestly just use the culling and zone him away if he chose to. Maybe just use it for that next wave. Make sure they can keep that pressure down and stop tanking turrets. Will probably be a good first step.
Two tower hits, but isn't really bothered by it, it seems like. Pac-Man now level 5.
Oh, you already used the culling. There you go. Very lucky for Pac-Man, I will say, that the culling was used. The items that he has, there was no way he's dealing with this push.
Yep. Early pressure there from the Hellions duo as Bomb continues to annoy BMA in mid lane. Once again, he's building up towards a 20 CS lead around that 10-minute mark. And there's something we've started to notice a bit more about Lulu, it feels like. It was sort of always true, but now that he's sort of back into the metagame a bit more, Still a good lane bully, guys.
Yeah, absolutely still good. And of course, this is just, honestly, this lane swap has gone really messily for Trident across the board. And they were the ones that put it into effect. And that's the most interesting thing to consider here is mid with a CS deficit, top with a CS deficit, AD with a CS deficit. Where is the farm going?
Well, it's going to Hellions.
All be behind.
It's going to Hellions at this point as BMA with the blue buff does collect some last hits under the turret. Bomb, though, will get his blue now. Cookie very graciously donates that one over. And BF saw Caulfield's hammer finish for Frey. Means that he can start to get aggressive. BMA ults and ease the wave there. Bomb, though, is just going to shield up, tank it, and push it all the way back.
Yeah, because BMA just looking to recall. Reset the wave so the bomb can't hit his turret and hopefully walk back inside.
Yeah, whimsy they use, but BMA will complete the recall. Morelli-Nomicon has been finished. But you can see Bomb is going to be about 20 CS ahead, if not a little bit more by the time the 10-minute mark rolls around.
Ryu just needs to recall, and the items that he'll come back with right now are going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, he has 2,000 gold.
Yeah. I mean, look at the difference in gold between them. It's 800 already. And it's only a Barmy Cinder for Pac-Man, so he does have to go health, remember, as his first item. This is the key feature of this matchup. If you don't get health, the vitals do too much.
That is a massive wave. He's going to start charging in towards this tier 2 turret. Impaired's actually going to pull himself out of the jungle towards topside. Pac-Man really wants to spam. He does hit level 6.
If they can deny this wave, or even just give it to Pac-Man, no, sorry, to Impaired, and it is still kind of a net gate, but they can't stop him. He's a big rock.
And Pac-Man is going to finally collect all the delicious CS. But he's going to still be behind despite the massive wave he cleared out. Ryu looked to back soonish, I have to think, but Hellions continuing to be active around the map. As Bomb will hit a light binding. Eats and poke, ulti out as well. Bomb actually.
Yeah.
Huge amount of damage from the Lux.
Good damage, but you have to remember, Bomb will have some money in his back pocket to get his next item, so he's looking to clear it out. Oh no, sorry, he's already got it. I looked at the wrong thing. Yeah, no, look, it's just a lot of damage.
Bomb is going to chug a potion, take the Raptors, and maybe think about not eating the light binding next time. But we do have Tiamat and Jarum's Fist completed for Ryu. So he's going to be at least starting off with a Titanic Hydra, but the item discrepancy is just silly at this point.
Yeah.
And Ryu can safely go back to top lane.
I feel like most of the discrepancy in items immediately is going to be in this bottom lane also. Frey and Denian, they've picked themselves up a sizable advantage for their AD carry. And having a Janna to boot, even right now, this burst could be bad.
Well, you can see Frey and Denian tried to get a bit cute there. But Addition does check it with a ward. He's going to use the ultimate. Pac-Man trying to keep this wave up here for as long as possible. But it will push eventually.
Yeah, the thing is he has a Barmy Cinder, so what is eventually is going to be sooner than he would like, given the still advantage in farm that Ryu has. And honestly, like, we're just waiting. Hellions, they're a late game team. They just want to get to those team fights. And at the moment, Trident are kind of letting it happen. That's a Spawnvin.
The TV Sky in there. Shout outs to Master Comics Man, as that is a Draven spawn. I like it.
It's amazing.
A little different. Good times.
It's not so much a beard though, is it?
It is technically no, but I'll allow it. Cookie and Pad though are going to have a jungle battle. Pac-Man's in the area. Ryu also available. But Cookie just not taking too much damage at this point. Impaired actually hasn't finished his jungle item just yet. Looks like he has a shop to complete before the Warrior enchantment is online.
Yeah.
And it's tricky stuff here. Hellions already up 1,000, actually 1,500 gold just from farm.
Pretty much. Not a whole lot to be gained. Remember, Trident put a lot more emphasis on that dragon, and that was a period where they did waste some time, and that was time where farm was taken. So by doing that, that's where the gold lead stemmed from. Of course, if the dragon still gave gold, things might be a little bit different.
Won't be much closer, certainly, but Ryu actually having a wave pushing towards him now. Going to zone Pac-Man out once again. This is definitely an interesting aspect of a lot of these early tower shoves. You get some pretty wonky-looking lanes around the side, but Ryu's definitely benefiting from it.
There's back and forth, and there's trading, and there's freezing pretty much in all of the above with those waves. And it comes down to who executes better, which is why if you're experienced in lane swapping, you start to stand out more in early games.
Oh, Denian says no. Good tornado, though, is going to juke end of the line as well. Should be okay, but Impaired could smell blood there.
Yeah. It feels like Impaired's just always sitting in bushes, really, trying to find unsuspecting victims. Denian gets a little bit too close, but Trident now have actually grouped up as 4 in mid lane.
Yep, Bomb actually absent right now. Does pop the Frost Queen Sperm Ghost, but Pillar actually could keep them out here. This is good seed coming out. Live Binding hits as well. Bomb going to eat the ulti. There's not enough damage. He couldn't get a range for the E. Ulti even used again onto Bomb, who's still holding the Wild Growth. And Hellions will clear the wave out, but Trident are not done.
I like this from Trident. They've got a lot of poke between a Lux and an Ezreal, and Bomb keeps eating those light bindings, and they need to be careful here, because honestly, this turret's going to fall.
Got to find a way to break the freeze as well, and Trident are going to go straight down mid lane.
There's another one.
Yeah, binding onto Cookie, poke out. Cookie pretty tanky, so should be okay, but Bomb's almost overstaying here for a couple of CS, and Hellions lose a crucial turret in mid.
They do lose the next turret, and that's where the gold lead starts to close back. But believe it or not, there was no real way for Hellions to deal with that because of the freeze from the Fiora, and still they find themselves a gold lead.
I mean, not quite enough, I suppose. In fact, yeah, still 1,000 up is impressive from Hellions, but seems like they're happy to trade that mid-outer, which, again, is such a central point of control on the map for continued farm on Ryu. If there was ever a game to look to Ryu to really get the late-game Fiora going, we've seen it before. Yeah. This is the one. He has been given so much here by his team.
And I think most curiously is where to Trident go from here, because usually you see a lot of time dedicated towards getting that middle turret. And once you break that middle turret, what you actually look towards is a win condition to get yourself further in the game, get more and more gold. Sure, you can take the dragon as you would like, especially considering Ryu's just not going to break this free for any time soon. He is most content on this Fiora. So sure, you take the dragon, but it's dragon number 2. Doesn't actually give you anything really in the way of stats.
Not yet, at least, but Trident, if they can take it, could be on the way to some of those later game dragons, which certainly do matter quite a bit more. Hellions, though, are looking to defend here. Ryu goes back, he buys his Hydra, and he's got teleport. Hellions actually going to try and fight this one out. Frey and Audition going to have a bit of a party, but Audition's kind of outnumbered. Flash on Burrow there from Cookie, and first blood goes to Lucian.
Hellions really love that.
Oh, that flash was sick.
That was a good flash from Bomb. Pac-Man did ult from maximum range, so quite easy to react, and Audition kind of walked towards the dragon, going to help his team, but they didn't have vision in that area. Why would you, honestly?
Yeah.
And he goes down for it, just like that.
That might be the Frey bush. That's twice now I've seen him hide there, trying to pick off Audition. But that one, with Cookie's help, did have to burn the flash. But Rek'Sai able to help Lucian secure that, and Hellions actually brute force them off the dragon as the ulti comes down, but it's not enough. Lux ulti doesn't have it. And Jakey, the support, is going to try and do something here. But I don't know if there's much he can.
Yeah, he's just a trundle. That Pillar of Ice does 1 damage. It's a true damage, to be fair. So, I mean, there's a chance. It's just not likely, ever. So he does have to disengage. Just keeping tabs on how many members there are, giving knowledge to the rest of his team and saying, well, you know, you're right to push here, do as you would like. So just communication reasons from Trident. But again, Trident, you're taking it to Hellions on their own terms here. BMA's still behind in farm, even with all of the nice pressure that it feels like he's back in this lane a little bit more so because he's against the control mage. But it's still not enough.
Yeah, and Bomb is going for kind of a greedier build as well. Rod of Ages second by the looks of things, and given again the fact that Hellions do like to scale, looks like they'll be just fine now. And Ryu finally pushes the way back towards Pac-Man. That CS lead will start shrinking, but 2,500 gold up for Hellions with just a kill on those 2 towers. They do claim a dragon for themselves, so they'll even that back up as well. But again, it just feels like the tempo favors Hellions. As Denian, lucky to be alive, actually, does juke the binding.
Denian is actually in a position to be instantly killed from a BMA combo, probably even through his Eye of the Storm shield. It's because BMA is level 11 plus, so 12 now with his large rod and Morello's. That is actually enough burst to kill probably like a 1,000 health Janna.
Yep, and there's that pick potential you mentioned, so Trident, they can set up maybe some more of that Sieges. Could be in a good position to use the Ezra on the Lux to great effect, but right now it just feels like Hellions are again running Trident all around the map. Impaired's actually down here clearing as Jungle Graves and Ryu now with the Ravenous Hydra completed, so it did change away from the Titanic. He's just split pushing, and Pac-Man can just sit there and take the farm, but eventually Ryu's pressure will cause someone else to go there.
Well, we're at the point now where the 1v1 sustain indefinitely favors Ryu. and he should be looking to combat this, but he's just missing knowledge on the members of Trident. Of course, they're now revealing themselves and staying bottom, so Freedom will start to alleviate itself. Ryu will work his way towards that top lane turret, and this is where it starts to get a bit spicy.
Yeah, all Hellions have to do is keep tabs on everyone else. BMA does have a teleport. Bomb does not this time. But Cookie providing good vision there with the Tremor Sense. Bomb continuing to push BMA up and keep tabs on him. And despite the, I'm going to say, pretty scarce amount of wards, Ryu's actually pushing very aggressively into Pac-Man.
Yeah, I think he's got one ward, maybe near that red buff, like sharing the same vision area with Trident, but I mean, realistically, he doesn't need the wards because he can see impaired. He knows that there's 2 members, potentially 3, because Jakey's the other one on this Trundle, and between a Trundle and a Malphite, there's 0 kill pressure on this Fiora, so as long as he has vision of impaired, he's happy.
And right now, impaired stuck on wave clear duty. There's too much pressure coming in for Frey. Ulti once again out from Addition. Doesn't have the gauntlet just yet. Actually went Mana Mune first and now has the Muramana, so
here comes Ryu.
Ryu top lane. And Pac-Man, even as a tank with a Senpai and a Glacial Shroud, can't really fight here. Ryu is going to move in for it. Ulti there from BMA. Bomb's going to eat it, but that tower in mid also starting to get low just naturally from Bomb's pressure.
Yeah, Bomb's just hard pushing the entire time. So if it's not minions, then it's him auto-attacking it. And BMA going for this blue buff, honestly, almost cost him a bit of that tower. It's a delicate thing, wave clearing and then trying to get your blue buff. The jungler could be sitting there for a long time until you actually get it.
Well, Bomb will move up again and get aggressive. Does tag him with the help picks. Fiddle Lance is good, but the wave clear from Lux not too bad. Able to keep the tower up for now, but Bomb is honestly popping those ghosts on cooldown. Doesn't cancel that recall, but he's going to get vision once again impaired. This person can't go anywhere.
No, they are absolutely keeping him down, which is amazing because it keeps Ryu and Bomb going. Looking at this middle lane, it does only take a single light binding to burst Bomb out, but he's started dodging them once again. Only 2 of them have really connected to him this entire game, and immediately PMA would use his ultimate after. So wisened up to the strategy and slowed the game back down to their pace.
And again, Hellions more than happy to play at this tempo, still with that gold lead. Haven't built on it just yet, but the items are starting to come out now as well. Cookie is going to ulti in towards the top side. Look at that, look for that blue buff, sorry I should say. Bomb returns, he's got the Rod of Ages stacking, 3 stacks actually now on it. Plus they need to see large rod. Ryu is continuing to farm. There's most of the Black Cleaver with the Caulfield's Warhammer and the Phage now done. And rapid fire cannon on top of the Essence Reaver there for Frey. If Trident want to fight, Hellions are ready for them.
Yeah, and this is still a pretty good time for Trident to look to fight, considering their item spikes. They're relying on Lux, and there's a teleport.
Yeah, Ryu's porting in. They are going to fight for it, but might have to pull out of it. Ryu home guards his way in. Looks for Impaired, just runs at him. Good repose. Gets in there. The flash is good, and Ryu issues the challenge and takes out Impaired. The TP here from Pac-Man, but maybe a little late. He's going to move in. Finds 2 as Cookie and Bomb going to eat the ulti. Ryu dives back in, but gets exhausted. But BMA is getting chunked out by Frey. Ryu dives under the tower to collect it. He's now sort of caught out, but the heals are still there. Frey, I think, popped his summon, and Ryu gets that alive with the repose. Now Addition in trouble as Ryu goes back in, and he's just sustaining so much health. Addition, good Q, will try and chase this out.
This is on Denian right now.
Oh, Q lands, but it doesn't quite connect. Good shield, I think, maybe from Denian.
That was the shield from Denian, and just like that, he's still going.
Still poking. Oh, almost eats it there. Ulti not up for Addition. No, it is up, actually. But he's so low on mana, he might have enough. He uses it. Ryu already out of the way. Frey able to clear these minions out.
And finally, there is a small break in the activity. Both teams turning it on just there. Item spikes out for Trident, and Hellions happy to match that because they are just so far ahead in gold. Sorry, not gold items, and farm themselves. Feeling confident, and funnily enough, Ryu tries to engage, work his way in, and uses the riposte from BMA, who gifted him a stun onto his opposition. Impaired, and immediately takes him down. BMA throwing out that light binding honestly cost his team that fight.
Yep. Well played as well from Ryu to read the situation. And he was just kept going in. He knew the limits of the champion there in that situation. And again, better early game from Hellions. More early grouping. Cookie even looking to try and steal this away. He moves in for it. Gonna go for it and just takes it out from under Impaired. The fight could be on as well. Pac-Man gonna get chased down. He does have the ultimate coming back up now.
It's up now.
Trident going to look to turn things around. Light Blinding, though, does not connect. And Trident, a little bit split. Bomb's going to rejoin the team, and Trident will have to back away from it.
Yeah, Bomb actually flashing over that Dragon Pit to safety as Pac-Man started to threaten him as well. Hellions, they're starting to turn on that aggression. Really looking for their situations where they can fight now, but always dangerous in this middle game stage against a Malphite Lux combo. Even if you include Ezreal and Graves ultimates, their burst is phenomenal. They need to pick them carefully.
They do, because the gold lead, it's there for Hellions, but it's not nearly the figure it was in game number 1. Hellions still working on mid tower though. Frey got it quite low after the last exchange, but wasn't able to finish it off, and now Jakey is just going to stay here protecting it. Magician's going to join back in. Does have the Iceborne Gauntlet done now as well, so Blue Ezreal's ready. Again, the early items are done, even a Luden's Echo from BMA for a bit of additional wave clear and poke.
Yeah.
Feels like the plan's there for Trident, they just can't quite get into siege mode just yet.
Absolutely have their plan in place. They just want to kill the first person they see and snowball the rest of the team fights from there. Easier said than done against the Lulu Jana, and that was always the immediate concern coming into this particular game from Champion Select. If Hellions ever feel threatened in their team fighting, then they can just put Ryu into a side lane.
And he's back. Ryu in the bottom lane. He's going to keep pushing things out. He's got the Black Cleaver. He's taking some jungle right now. Even Frey actually is taking Empty Land Farm versus Pac-Man as a Lucian. And actually just wants to challenge him here. His team is coming to help him, but movement from Trident as well does leave Frey to back towards his tower. As Cookie just clearing that vision out. But Ryu continuing to be a pest. His teleport will be back up relatively soon.
Yeah, but they know it's not available just yet, and Trident's immediate response is to be hyper-aggressive. They don't have a teleport of their own, but they just know that Ryu, one of the strongest members of this side, with 2 of the 3 kills and a lot of their farm, isn't available until just about now, and it gives them this next wave to try.
Well, it's the right idea here from Trident, but Ryu's actually threatening an inhibitor tower now as well. And his teleport's going to be back up. The culling is used. Trident going to take this tower by force.
Well, look at bottom.
Yeah, Ryu's still pushing. Trident have to back themselves away, but Ryu is just going to hard commit to this one, and Hellions are chasing them.
They stop
Pac-Man
this.
goes in. They can't quite cancel it. Ghost will not do it, but it will stop the rest of the backs. The tower does fall. Ryu able to open the base right up.
It's so simple from Hellions. You execute on split push, and Trident, they finally try and make something happen to no avail just yet. As look, Hellions can just disengage and rinse and repeat.
Yep. Good. Again, right idea from Trident, but perhaps a little late on the timing. And now all of a sudden, Pac-Man, who couldn't stop Ryu, does not have his teleport. So if Hellions want to remove back to split pushing, Ryu's going to go back in shop, and he'll be even stronger. And with his TP up, I don't see why he wouldn't keep pushing.
Yeah, absolutely. Should be looking to threaten this bottom lane. Maybe push out top beforehand, but they've got their plan of attack set in place. And Hellions can just work around their strength right now, which is Ryu.
And in the meantime, Rabadon's Death Cap completed for Bomb. Infinity Edge, by the looks of things, going to be that 3rd item choice for Frey. It's, again, these greedy late-game builds that are quite expensive but very potent from Hellions. And never discount the Lulu Lucian. Because if Hellions come to late-game team fighting again, they will be more than set up, as Pac-Man is going to be challenging Pads down here to try and make it a little bit fairer. The damage is there. The challenge is blocked. He just gets a kill, and now Impaired has to fight all the way around it. He'll kite as best he can. Riposte is down, but the Hydra is there. The minion wave's going to help out Ryu as well. And he's just going to keep chasing. He finds the fighter, but BMA moves in with the ulti as Impaired gets the shutdown.
So much effort goes into taking down one member of Hellions. Ridiculous stuff here from this Fiora. What a performance.
Yeah, and insight there, boys, as we are going to get ourselves back into the game after a pretty quick pause there. But like we heard from the desk, Hellions back with another early game lead as we do pop back in.
Yeah, they absolutely are. And the most important thing is we saw this from the Caitlyn pick, having a bit of extra range. Jinx can do it, a bit of extra range themselves, and they have a Lulu Jana to complement that AD carry. What they've got is an aggressive build Lucian who is mobility-based, not range-based. And so he's going to have to play these team fights impeccably to actually get Hellions into a comfortable 4v4 situation. In saying that, they have more than one strategy that they can put into place here to actually combat what Trident have to offer.
And smart grouping there from Hellions. Take themselves a 3rd dragon or Dragon 3, I should say. The 4th overall of the game. Trident did get the game's first one. As Frey is going to keep pushing in. He's got the Infinity Edge completed.
That is just ridiculous.
That is
Is
wonderful.
so good.
I like the sunglasses. It's very subtle.
The deal with it.
Yeah. Well, that's certainly what that beard says. Deal with it.
Yeah.
And thank you very much there from Josh, because we are dealing with it in the best way possible by enjoying it on our beloved broadcast.
You know
Again,
there's like world's greatest beard competitions.
Yes.
They do crazy things with them. They're
Yeah.
just so good.
it is.
Just put on Spawn's face.
There you go. You ever seen a crazy beard that you liked? Today is your day. Get it on Spawn's face, and you too can win Warring Kingdoms in Italy. As Addition able to take the red buff down. Frey still applying pressure to this turret that's been pretty stubborn, I have to say, for Trident. They're using all their wave clear trying to keep it up, but Hellions eventually will get this, and we have different problems for Pac-Man. He's still facing up against that Fiora. There's the tower going to fall. Trident forced to react to bottom side, and Hellions will just keep pushing.
Yeah, they
Oh my
definitely
god,
are.
Addition! It's a massive amount of damage from the culling.
Not going to stop anytime soon. We just saw BMA in impaired rotate. Not a great position for Trident to be in. If they take more than one member to go and deal with this Fiora, sure, they zone Ryu away, but only for a time, because he'll come straight back, as this is no surprise to see. And the other thing is they're now pushing in that middle lane.
Yeah, they open up issues there in the center of the map, and as soon as Hellions can take this tier 2 in mid, it's going to be an easy transition point between mid and bottom lane, and that inhibitor is going to start dying.
In saying that, I am a little bit concerned with Frey's item build at the moment, because if he gets touched by a single light binding, he is dead. He is 100% dead. Lulu and Janna, they do a lot of work in keeping him alive, but that's also a lot of trust being put in place here onto this Frey, Helion's AD carry. And a Trundle Pillar makes it that much easier.
Yeah, it certainly does. And Frey's playing up so aggressively to try and get those passive procs onto the turret. Ryu going to get chased out briefly as Pac-Man is going to force him back out.
Oh
Bomb
my
hits a
God.
double binding! Huge ulti. That's going to force out the Wild Growth there as Cookie stands his ground and fights, but he's going to get pillared. That'll force the flash out, and BMA barely misses the second one to continue the fight.
BMA hits the dream light binding right there, and just as we were saying, Hellions, they put everything into keeping those two members alive. Thankfully for them, they do stay alive. Not by a large margin though, I will say, as you have to think about this happening one more time when there's more items on those carries. The second Lux has either a Zone User or a Death Cat, whichever she will go towards next. Those two are dead.
Yeah, and that can't happen there for Hellions. They have built themselves a nice lead, but it's not particularly big here, 33 minutes in. 4,000 gold is nice, but it's not the same league we saw from them in the first game here. Trident have done a great job holding on here in game 2, and Hellions not quite as clean on the execution of the plan this time around.
They're running reactive play here, Hellions, and it's my biggest question mark towards them is they decided to... Oh, that's pretty good actually. Oh, it's so good.
Thanks there from Tavel, continuing our beard competition.
Oh, yeah. It's okay, producer. Don't worry. I'll continue my point now. Again, Hellions are playing reactively based off what happens to them beforehand. So they get hit by a light binding. They immediately go back at a QSS and a Negatron cloak on their mid laner and AD carry respectively. If they get engaged on by a Malphite and realize they can't kill him, is that the moment they go towards a Last Whisper? Because at that point, it's going to be a late game team fight.
I mean, Frey's going to need one eventually, but like you said, does have other issues perhaps. As Hellions are now looking to threaten around this Baron. That's the other play they can make. Ryu still annoying Pac-Man here in the top lane. Pac-Man is keeping the top lane inhibitor, sorry, bottom lane inhibitor nice and healthy, but Hellions will actually go ahead and start Baron. Good scrying orb there from Trident will reveal it, and the Hellions are going to have to pull off.
Yeah, forcing objectives is a dangerous game, but also a blessing in disguise as Ryu's not done.
That last Vital barely procs, but there it is for the second hit, and now Ryu can start on this.
He's working around vision, and again, Hellions' other 4 members are doing the exact same thing. Baron's starting to get pretty low. So's the inhibitor, you would have to think. What are they going to do here, Trident?
Yeah, they pulled BMA, who does have TP to try and deal with the 1v2, but Pac-Man crazy low there on topside. Ryu might even just go straight 1v2. Beamer flashes away.
They should not have sent Beamer to deal with that. They need the smite at the Baron, but now Hellions, they're looking.
They're just going to chase. Don't quite pick the same target though. Trident are actually collapsing back onto the bottom side. Hellions are going to run back over to Baron as a result, and Ryu, I think, just got out in the nick of time.
Yeah, has no mana to continue that siege, but He does have his teleporters. Once again, this Hellions side can work around the Baron strength that they have well and truly established. And they're running Trident around the map, and sooner or later, they'll send a second member. Or they'll just kill Jake.
Yeah, Jakey might have face jacked a little too much here. He's going to flash himself out of the way, but Cookie will chase in. Ulti pop there for Toronto, so that does keep him safe. But Ryu used the TP already. He's actually in top lane, trying to get a bit of additional gold for his team.
He absolutely is. And yeah, the saving grace for Trident, you'd have to say, is that he is top lane. And now he's going to work towards the Baron, though. This is the commit.
Good orb again there. Trident are going to get the vision, but Hellions, like you mentioned, no TP there. Hellions will either stand and fight or take the Baron. Looks like fight is the option, and Pad is going to get ultied up there as he's just going to go down almost there as he gets challenged off.
Pac-Man has ult.
Now looking to chase. Denian's going to get taken out by BMA, and Pac-Man, four-man ulti, looking to turn things around. That is going to be a kill onto the backside there, but Frey's going to get melted. Trident, 4 strong with Impaired dead, are going to keep chasing.
Absolutely no idea what Hellions were trying to do there. Trying to fight in a choke point against the Malphite is asking to die. They get a 4-man knock-up here, Trident. They move immediately towards this Baron, and this is a power play they were looking for.
Cookie, though, has actually stayed. He's going to look for the steal. Bomb's going to get chased out here. I can fight the support, but actually taking a bit too much damage here. Baron is also dealing good damage as well, and Trident actually have to back off this one.
That was good from Hellions. Of course, they didn't actually realize, Trident, that Jake just pillared Lulu off. 100% could have killed Bomb. He gets away and denied a recall, as he still gets away and goes back to base. I cannot believe they managed to force a reset just there. Well, that was the fight that Trident wanted.
It is, and it was a great fight there. You could see the Lux lined it up. Good ultimate in there as well. Pac-Man finding the dream 4-man ulti almost. And Ryu, you saw what he tried to do, take out the jungler ASAP, but couldn't quite get the full Fiora combo down to take him out. So he will have a reset here instead. And all of a sudden, 37 minutes in, they're going to have another fight here. Jakey is the target, but he's pretty tanky, and Ryu doesn't want to challenge too hard. Will not go hyper-aggressive on it.
Easy to say, but you look at Ryu's positioning, and you get the vibe that he just wants to fight everybody in front of him.
I'm getting more than a vibe, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, look, it's just visible now. Like he just kind of did it. He's still not done.
Jakey perhaps out of position. Vital procs. Going to keep moving in for it, but they'll just take the poke. Bomb actually going to get pellet up there. Pac-Man wants it. They are going to combo in for the kill. Bomb is going to pop the ulti, and that's not enough to kill him. He will finally die as Pac-Man tanks up the culling. Hellions have to run themselves back out of the choke point, and Trident are on the offensive. Hellions, can they get everybody else out safely? Tornado looks to disengage them. Blue Trinket sees them, but they will not follow up.
And they're not controlling the side waves here, Hellions. They were looking towards that dragon to get the 4th one in their back pocket and look towards the 5th. They get caught out of position, walking into a small choke point once again, and burst it out. It's a Malphite, Lux, Ezreal, Graves. Stop walking in a choke point, start that split push, or pick again. But instead now, Trident force the base.
Yeah, this base is getting crushed by Trident. There's Frey's out of position. Doesn't need a binding. Ulti does juke it. And now Ryu on the backside challenging BMA. Huge ulti there for Cookie, so he gets the Umbara, and Ryu still able to maybe turn things around, but he's a little too low, and Trident will now pile back in. Cookie will die to addition as this inhibitor in mid is dead.
And wow, Trident, they just brute force their way in. They start to find power points with their team composition, and this was always the major concern. They redirect their attention here, Hellions, towards that team fighting when you would argue it should be split pushing. They don't control their side lanes, and now they're starting to lose the entirety of this map away from them.
Addition, though, is going to get out. Maybe not, actually. Whimsy to chase. Help Pix just takes him out, but Pac-Man going to go in for Bomb. Maybe a little too aggressive. The Wild Growth is there. The Binding does not hit him. Bomb, too aggressive there. Pops the shield onto him. He's going to force the flash from Pac-Man. BMA just off to the top of the screen. Should be okay. But it's just picks everywhere. Addition dead for 40 seconds.
Yeah, that's a very long time for the Ezreal to be down. You have to keep in mind Pac-Man also doesn't have his ultimate, doesn't have flash, and has to go to base and teleport back in. Dangerous fight for Hellions, but they're confident in taking this.
Pac-Man's coming, but he doesn't have ulti. The teleport's completed, but Hellions are committing to this. BMA pops out the ulti, steals the Baron out from under Hellions, but Hellions will now start the fight. Ryu dives in for the Lux. calling out there as well. Denian looks for the reset, but Trident walk away. In fact, Impaired might even take somebody out.
BMA, the game-saving play just there. Without their AD carry, steals it with the E laser combo. Fantastic work here from BMA in time to perfection. They all disengage casually.
No smite there from Cookie as BMA will get the steal. Frey now still dealing with the super minions that Trident prepared earlier. And we mentioned at the start of the draft that we're not sure if you want to take Hellions to late game, but with this sort of comp, Trident are showing that maybe they can do it.
They definitely are doing it, of course. You have to question the comp. Oh my god,
Ryu.
Good luck.
Far too aggressive here. He's 1v4, I think, at this point. Going to be 1v5 relatively soon. Team is going to join him in. Jenny going to try and turn things around, but Impaired just firing on the front lines. Ulti used, Pac-Man buzzed it in there. Denny is already dead to the ulti up from Lux. Pac-Man does get turned into a fish or an otter, but Trident still on the offensive.
And this tower is going to go down, you would have to imagine. They don't have the Malphite ultimate, but it shouldn't really matter as they've got that Baron buff, and these minions are tanky as all hell.
They're more than enough strength, certainly. As addition, even going to get mid lane pushing with the supers just a little bit faster. Ryu again in the front lines, but these minions are doing absurd amounts of damage, and Trident
Right, could be dead.
still 4v5.
Oh.
BMA's ult's back up. Just uses it. Wants to force them off. Trident going to break the tower. And 2 inhibs now are going to go down. Hellions need almost a desperate defense here in this game.
They definitely are on the back foot now. If any team could do it, from what we've seen so far, you'd have to give it to Hellions. But realistically, they are up against this team fighting composition of Trident. And they've met them on the battlefield with team fights, and they've started to suffer for it. And finally, Frey picks up his last Whisper. Malphite might take damage now.
Well, we'll see. Pac-Man is very tanky. But
yeah, might. I mean, it's just pretty tanky.
yeah, look, I think might's the correct mentality there. As Trident now going to work on that last inhibitor here in top lane. Do have a while to push the wave in, and Baron should wear off by the end of it, but BMA going to get things started. As we have a look though, 42.5 minutes in. Much later game here. Trident do have the gold lead, but at this point, it is pretty much irrelevant given that everyone's built up. And honestly, it's almost a coin flip now. You have to out-execute in these team fights. Hellions can still win from this position, but Trident do have the initiative here, and they're looking to try and close it out.
There's just such a large advantage, honestly, for Trident, pretty much across the map. Only one lane left to attack is the real concern here for Hellions. And I mean, yeah, if they execute to perfection, I feel like they can still win these team fights. But it's very unrealistic to consider, given that they have to deal with 2 other lanes. If they send anyone elsewhere, they're absolutely in trouble. And even if they all stay in this one lane, they're just going to be clumped up against the Malphite.
Yeah, all Trident have to do is be patient. Pac-Man not taking that much damage.
Back massage.
Yeah, the tickling, as it were. As Danny and shields up the turret. Ryu busy dealing with mid-supers. But bottom lane still pushing in. Trident will just move forward onto the tower. And Hellions are apparently going to give it up. Not much else they can do. They will actually defend. Ryu pulled, but Trident back off. They know all they have to do is be patient.
Yep, they're playing the game. Bot lane is starting to stack up as well, and this could honestly almost go down in this wave. Hellions are getting desperate. They will need to fight.
Frey, good damage onto Impaired. Cookie looks for it. Impaired is going to be the one to jump in on massive wild growth. There is a reset in from Danny and Dante.
Wow.
But that AoE is ridiculous. BMA gets a double kill, and the wombo combo cleans 4 of the Hellions straight off Summoner's Rift.
And this is the BMA that we have been missing. He turns up in this game, hits all of the light binding, 6, 1, and 6. And Trident, they just rampage their way through this mid game. And they're going to close it out and make this a game 3.
They turn up in the team fights when it matters. We will push to game number 3 as Trident finish off the remaining structures. Rough early game there for the team, but Trident pull it all the way back.
They absolutely do, and that's the most interesting thing here. As they said, we'll meet you at this late game. We'll meet you with these team fights. They actually beat them at their own game.
I mean, you kind of said it. Comp was relatively straightforward. They did the things they needed to do. Hellions maybe put themselves in some sticky spots there.
Yeah.
And just strong overall play late from Trident.
Yeah, I mean, Trident, they played impeccably. Hellions didn't really consider continuing that split push, and they do go down.
Well, we'll see how that all happens. We are going to pop back over to the analyst desk.
Thank you so much, guys. A very convincing win there in the end for Trident, but I think that we have to take stock of the situation. The start of that game, we mentioned it in the break, certainly didn't look like it was going in their favor. You mentioned, Carbon, that mid lane push is where you think that Trident figured out how they were going to win the game.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was really nice, honestly. They were, I think, well, in the pause we said it, about 5k behind or so, and they just all go mid. They ARAM straight away, take a free mid tower. They just had no business taking and moved from there.
Yeah, and this is something that you wanted to talk about as well, Carbon. The split push is what they went back to. The first pick of the Fiora, and it just didn't quite work out.
I'm going to actually interrupt you there because the split push did work out. Fiora took a base turret, was sitting on an inhibitor, actually 2v1. I'm going to say that the thing that didn't work out for the Hellions is when Ryu decided to group with the team again, because you saw that he burnt the teleport into the top lane after he'd won a 2v1, and the game kind of went downhill from there. No teleport, can't execute on a split push, have to group up with the Malphite, and they kind of got destroyed in those team fights. I really do think that before that point in the game, Hellions looked like, especially through the bottom lane, there was a huge opportunity for Ryu to take it over. When they were 5,000 gold up, no one could really take him in the 1v1.
Well, no, they couldn't, but yeah, then he sort of just doesn't play the split push correctly, right? Teleports to the top lane, exactly like you said, and it just didn't work.
I mean, the big thing here is I think the split push worked because of Malphite's mistake. Malphite came out of tower range with the Graves to try and kill them, almost got 2v1'd, right? I don't think the split push worked that well. Yes, he 2v1 in the base. That was very impressive, but did he get the inhib? No, he's not actually putting map pressure on.
Yeah, wasn't able to revisit there. And once the teleporter burnt, it actually led us to this situation, which was a Baron that Hellions thought they had to commit to. They just got one pick. They were ready to pull it in, but an unlikely hero here, Atlas, pops in to save the day.
Yeah, look at BMA. We are going to roll this one out. Look, throws out the E. And there's the ult and explodes the E at the same time. So much burst damage, and you saw 500 health there on the Baron, just a slightly early smite there from Cookie.
I mean, we just watched the replay, and Cookie actually didn't smite at all.
Oh, he didn't get there?
No. He
man.
had the opportunity. He had about half a second there to smite. I mean, it's a reflex thing, you know, so I don't, as a jungler, I feel his pain.
It's one of those 50-50 ones, though, because you know that you're going to have a window because no one can detonate all the spells at the same time, but it is one of those flip of the coins. Like, you just got to hit the button.
I mean, it's just so much damage. I mean, your smite, I think your smite did like 850 or something, and Lux ult plus Lux E is doing significantly more than 850 damage.
Yeah, and we slowed that down as well. So we saw the 500 on the screen for a little bit longer than Cookie would have.
Yeah, it certainly did. But that seemed to be the big momentum builder. All of a sudden, Beamer, who was 50 CS down in a laning phase, playing a lot more confident. You know, the bottom lane, they were down, I think, 100 CS at one point in that game. They were able to step up because gold became irrelevant. They got it to that late game, led to this replay, which is in the bottom lane. Carbon, you spoke a lot about how this team can't work. I feel this is the easiest way to demonstrate it.
Yeah, well, what we didn't see before this was Ryu getting caught split pushing again. They get the bot lane siege, they have Baron, which is obviously super useful, and now this is what I like. They just come mid, bot, and they just set up the siege. They have a huge wave, 2 cannons. All they need to do is sit here and poke. There's nothing that HLN can do. They can try and engage, as you see, but they have no real engage tools other than maybe a Rek'Sai flash. I mean, this is sieging. This is our drafting.
Certainly is. It seems that at this point of the game, it was pretty much over because, as you said, no engage tool, no ability for Ryu to get in there and wreak havoc on the back lane. It did lead to 2 inhibitors going down, a final team fight in the top lane. And I want to take it back to something because it is the draft. We actually had a tweet in from the Trident analyst saying, you know, finally the desk has figured out what my drafting capability is and that, you know, have 4 weeks, have a little bit of faith, boys. What I want to argue, however, on the other side of this, there is a flip side that you've drafted your team into 3 losing matchups and sent every lane down by at least 50 CS with a non-ganking jungler. Can they afford to do that in another game?
I mean, theoretically, you've just lost a game in convincing fashion. Is the thing to do bank on your late game? I mean, they didn't even make it in game 1. So on a theoretical level, do you really think like, okay, well, we didn't make it past 35 minutes game 1, but let's try and get to 40 this time?
Yeah, and you have a feeling as well that, I mean, it's not all about the Trident draft being good necessarily, there weren't a whole lot of answers here that Hellions had in order to deal with what they brought in the late game at the same time. You mentioned the low range, and I feel like, if they had have adjusted a few things, grabbed some extra range perhaps on the side of Hellions, it would have been a very different story.
Certainly was a potential, but one thing you do have to give credit for is Trident went into the game with a game plan and were able to pick up the win, which means, guys, we're going to Game 3. It is 1-1 right now between Trident and Hellion. Game 3 will be just around the corner, so don't go anywhere.